basics of cryptoanalysis. Cryptography in Egypt. It appears Barnes has an interesting hobby. Finest view London has to offer. The finest view London has to offer. In the language of Mycroft's secret agents, it's a sign. Dried flowers are replaced when the job is done. I wonder who the recipient is. An improvised stand, but it does make the flowers more visible. I could hardly imagine anything more macabre.
Barnes has always been a little odd, but this is uncharacteristic even for him.
The weather is dreary, isn't it? To be fair, my flowers could use the rainfall.
Encouraging people to stop and smell the roses?
Our national emblem. God save the Queen.
The pot is damaged. The blow was severe, but softened by something. Familiar spine. Is this what I found in my dustbin? It must take patience and care to produce a bloom so beautiful.
I imagine so. I merely sell them. Anything tickle your fancy, Mr. Holmes?
My condolences, Mrs. Fleming.
Mr. Holmes?
Your husband's death. You're clearly still in mourning.
Oh, no. I loved him more than anything, of course, but that was some time ago now. Life goes on.
A lesson we all learn, one way or another. I'll be off.
Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller.
I'll be off. One of these things is not like the other.
Come again?
The cactus. Those fearsome spines can prove a devil to remove, and the sap is often toxic.
And a rose thorn can give you tetanus, but we still grow them. The cactus seems comparatively harmless, though you have me thinking it must be valuable.
I was under the impression that you knew its price already.
Your guess is as good as mine. The first time I saw this cactus was when I came back from my break.
What do you make of the flowers in Barnes' shop window?
Well, they could use a bit of water.
Do they mean anything to you?
Mean anything how? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Holmes.
Why do you think they're there?
Are you suggesting the flowers are for me?
It seems likely, does it not?
Oh, I hope you're right. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller.
Are you familiar with Mr. Barnes?
Yes. No, not really. Well, in a way.
What on earth does that mean?
I know who he is, of course, but we haven't shared much more than a look.
A look?
Yes. Each morning I go for a walk in the park with my dog, and most days I spot Mr. Barnes there with his new puppy, so we see each other. Actually, we once met briefly while our dogs played. He was quiet and seemed unsteady as he approached, but since then, we've never spoken. I often see him staring through the shop window. Sometimes I wonder what he thinks about that would etch such longing onto his face.
I think perhaps I have been chasing shadows.
Do not despair, Mr. Holmes. Even the best of us make mistakes. We better tell Mr. Barnes what we've learned.